Hi everyone. So today I wanted to talk about some of my favorite art books because I love collecting art books and I have a few that I look at quite a bit or I really enjoyed looking at. And I also have a really wide variety of art books from like classical painters to more educational to like the art of video games. So I wanted to talk about some of my favorite ones, and maybe there will be one if you are also an art book enthusiast that you don't have that maybe you'll want to purchase after this. So starting out, this one I've actually only looked through once because it is really new. It just came out recently, but it is Miles Johnston's art book, Liminality. It is great. It has so many really good prints of a lot of his pieces, which is great to look at. It also talks about his journey, which is, inspiring. And I also really enjoy how it shows the progress of a lot of his finished pieces. So it'll show the little thumbnail sketch and then the final piece, which is super useful, and it's kind of inspired me to plan out my paintings and drawings a bit better and maybe start out with more of a sketchy thumbnail rather than being impatient and just jumping straight into making a finished painting. And I also really love about this art book how there is a ton of art. It's like around 250 pages long, and there's so much art in it, which I really enjoy. I've supported a lot of art books on Kickstarter, and it always annoys me when I get the book in the mail and then it ends up being tons of text about, background information that I really don't care about. I bought your art book because I want to look at your art, and this book has tons of art and it's really large pages, which is great, and it's really high quality. So yeah, I really enjoy this book. The next book that I look at all the time and I really enjoy is William Bouguereau, The Essential Works. I think there are a lot of Bouguereau books, but this is the only one I own, but I do really like it. I think I got it off Amazon, but this is really great book. Again, it has large pages, really high quality prints. And it also talks about Bouguereau's life, which is really interesting. So it shows a lot of his paintings, and he did a lot of different styles. So he did a lot of portraits, which it categorizes his works into the different groups. So he did a lot of portraits of people who had commissioned him at the time. And then he also did a lot of mythological paintings, which I think those are my favorites. Also, his religious paintings, it has a section for those, and those are also beautiful. Love looking at them. And then he has a lot of paintings of like French peasant people out in the countryside and children, and they're great. I love looking at his paintings. So love looking at this book for inspiration or anything. He's just amazing, really. So I would highly recommend this book if you like Bouguereau at all. Now we're gonna switch gears a little bit. I know we just talked about some traditional painters, but I actually also really love the Final Fantasy XIV art books. I think I pretty much own all of them, except for maybe, I don't know if art books have come out for the newest expansion. I haven't even played that one yet, but I don't know. I just really love looking at the finished illustrations, and then the concept art is really fun to look at and how they design the outfits, and it shows different iterations for characters sometimes. And it shows, for example, how they design different base hairstyles for the new Vieira race they came out with. And it's just really fun to see what goes into concept art for the video game. Also, I love seeing the monsters and the concept art for the monsters and the different bosses. So I love looking at that. And it's nice to see, like, some of these illustrations are just really pretty as well. So it's just nice to look at for inspo. And the boss designs, although kind of annoying how it's printed in the middle of the book. But still, I do really enjoy these art books and all of the stuff they put into them. If you're into concept art at all, or video games, or just interesting creatures, I do recommend these art books, and they have cool environment concept art as well for the different locations. So I really do enjoy these books. Another book I look at all the time is Stonehouse's Anatomy. I really love this book, and I reference it constantly. But as the name implies, it's more of an anatomy book for artists. But it explains a lot of the mechanics, and the illustrations are really cute and easy to follow too. And it talks about evolution a little bit. But it's great. It's really nice and like a good anatomy book if you're an artist. And it is so thick, as you can see. And so it kind of goes in detail with everything you could want it. Look at this. It just has a bunch of like really great references. So I really enjoy it. And then some of the artists, some of his like work. So those are fun to look at as well. And it explains the differences and the similarities between different animals. You can see it explains the difference in evolution between like tiger or other animals having a larger snout, while humans and primates have more of a flat face, which is interesting. But so it's super interesting, and it's just really well written too. The text itself is fun to read. So yeah, I really love this book. I would highly recommend it if you do a lot of paintings of the figure or people at all. Another book I really love is the Persona 5 art book. It is also huge, and I love looking through this book. It has a lot of the promo illustrations for the game, which are really just fun to look through, and it is so complete, full of everything, all of the different face animations for when the characters are talking, because they have that anime style illustration in the game, but so that it shows as they were planning the character, different iterations for the designs of the different video game characters, which is fun to see, and all of their little personas that they have. But pretty much all, as you can see here, all of the like game illustrations are in this book, so it's super complete and really fun to look at. I'd say this art book is more based on the characters in the video game rather than all of the monsters. So I guess keep that in mind. So if you care more about like monster illustrations, you may not like this as much. There are some illustrations of the like bosses and things you'll fight, but it definitely is more focused on the characters that are in the video game. And apparently the version I have is in Japanese, but I still really enjoyed looking at it. And so even if you get a version that's not in your language, I think it's still fun to look at and useful and cool to see. It shows a lot of the environment art as well that they made for the video game. So really fun to look at, super complete too. Besides for the lack of all of the monsters. I wish there was more art for that, but it's still a great book and I really enjoy it. Another art book that I really like that I really haven't heard too many people talk about is this art book called 1318, The Art of Pyeong Jun. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I just like how it's pretty much all art, I don't know if there's any text in it, which is fine by me. It's pretty much all art, but it's a lot of art that this artist made for trading card games. It looks like one of the games is Legend of the Cryptids, which I've heard of. I've seen a lot of cool art for it, but I don't actually know what that game is. But there's a bunch of cool illustrations, and I really love their style. They're a digital painter, but super cool. Love just looking through this. Lots of really neat illustrations that they made. And then they also have some studies in the back and illustration. They look like studies, that maybe they were for something, I don't know. But that's always great just to see how different people draw the face and simplify different things and figures. So I highly recommend this, especially if you're interested in trading card art at all, or kind of more fantasy type illustrations. Oh, it looks like there's some text, that's in Korean, but not a ton, so I think it's fine. I think I just found this on the website where I bought Stonehouse's Anatomy, and as I said, I love just buying random art books, so I bought it, and I really enjoyed it, so I highly recommend this one. Another great art book I really love is Dragon Girl and Monkey King, The Art of Katsuya Terada, which a lot of people probably have this book. He's a very famous artist, but again, the art is just a ton of fun to look at. I really enjoy it. There's not too much else to say. It kind of speaks for itself, but it's just, the art in here is crazy and really fun to look at. It's very unique, which I love. I don't know if I can even show a lot of these illustrations on YouTube, but some of them I think are okay. And I love, what actually got me into oil painting was art like Katsuya Terada's, because even though I think most, if not all of it, is digital, the way he makes it, it looks really traditional. So I was always trying to chase that traditional looking style using digital painting, which I had a hard time doing. There's ways to do it. I'm not very good at it, but it always looked a little too forced or not traditional enough. And then I was like, why don't I just actually start doing traditional art instead of digital? Because I love the look of the traditional art so much. So it's kind of funny how that progressed, but love this book. I think those are all of the art books I'm gonna talk about for now. I definitely have a lot more. An honorable mention, this isn't an art book, but it's a magazine that I think is released quarterly called A Beautiful Bizarre Magazine. And I really love this. They interview all kinds of artists. They feature all kinds of artists. A lot of traditional art, but also digital art as well. And they also have photography sometimes and sculpture. So I really enjoy getting this magazine in the mail every few months. Lots of cool inspo, and I also get to discover a lot of artists that I maybe have never heard of. So highly recommend this magazine if you are interested in more really anything that's kind of like somewhat surreal-ish, but all different mediums and styles. So it's fun reading through all the interviews and seeing different artists' thought processes and discovering a lot of different artists that I had never heard of. So I highly recommend subscribing to this magazine if you're into that kind of thing. I think those are all the books I'm going to talk about today. I have a lot more that I also really enjoy. I'd say these are just my favorites / the ones I'm just drawn to, or I was drawn to today when making this video. But if you want to hear about any other books, let me know. Or if you have any suggestions for art books that you don't think I have, let me know, because I love buying art books. So thanks for watching, and I hope you found something that maybe you didn't have that you now want to purchase. So thank you, and I'll talk to you later.